I started with $500 and I started on the clearance racks. And I didn't take any money out of my business. So I guess it would actually be 2 years from when I started, because that first year that I was very part-time, I just kept rolling it. And then when I went full-time, I didn't take any money out for another year, except for paying the credit cards. And if I needed help to pay a car payment or something, I would pull little amounts, but nothing drastic. And then my capital would just kept turning, and that allowed me to go deeper on items. And that was 2021, which there were a lot of opportunities for 2021, like the pools and the chlorine. So I was blessed to be able to go deep on those items and really chase things around the state. And that, made my available capital increase so much more. And then just went from there. I was in a small mastermind and we would help each other with good buys, and I just grew from there.
Hi, and welcome to Your Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Kirk, aka Your Selling Guide. In 2017, I quit a steady corporate desk job to travel the US in an RV. Along the way, I started selling on Amazon, grew multiple successful businesses, and wound up back to my roots as a small town girl. Today, I'm still doing what I love, selling on Amazon and helping other sellers start and grow their own online businesses. Each week on Your Selling Podcast, we will cover different aspects of selling online and highlight other sellers just like you and I. From part-time sellers creating extra income on the side to full-time sellers growing million-dollar businesses. Think of this as a sit-down with your Amazon bestie where we can learn and grow our online businesses together. Welcome to Your Selling Podcast. Hey crew, and welcome back. On today's episode, I have Sarah Ray joining me, and she is an Amazon seller and a Walmart seller, and she does FBA, and she's even opening a liquidation store here pretty soon. But I'm not going to tell her story. I'm going to let her tell it. So welcome, Sarah, to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I was telling you a little bit beforehand, but I've been following you for a while on Instagram, and I just am absolutely amazed at the way you've grown your business. So I feel like I'm fangirling a little bit here, and I'm just really excited to jump into how you got started selling on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, all the places, and what was your life like before that?
Yeah, so actually, I'm really excited to be here because when I first found out about Amazon, it was your videos that showed me how to do retail arbitrage. So thank you for putting that out there for everybody. I'm really excited to be able to talk with you today. So before I started Amazon, I worked in the local tax assessing office. So I was doing the 9 to 5, and my kids were, going through elementary and middle school. And I just really wanted to be home with them. I had always wanted to be home with them and be a stay-home mom. But as they were getting older and they were getting into activities and needing to be Ubered everywhere, I just really felt that need to go home and spend that time with them. So I left my job and I became a stay-home mom, and I quickly realized I missed working and I missed, providing that extra income for my family. So I was looking for a side hustle. I actually came across a post in Facebook from Hustle Buddies that just kind of explained what it was. They had just opened up their group, and I started scanning things around my home, and that's where it started. The first year, I kind of suffered from analysis paralysis, and kind of lurked in all of the groups, But then in September of 2020, I jumped in full time and knew that I really needed to make this work, and just blew up from there. So I've been doing it ever since.
Are you doing a retail arbitrage model, online arbitrage, or is it like a mix of a lot of things?
So up until January, I was probably 80% retail arbitrage. I've always done retail arbitrage. I still love retail arbitrage. But now that I've taken on so many other things, I'm starting to do more OA for Amazon, but still RA for Walmart.
You talked about earlier, and I apologize to listeners because I'm going to bring up stuff I talked about earlier. But anyways, how you were doing some Walmart to Walmart flips. How did you get into Walmart? Because I know I'm just following you on Instagram. I've been like, okay, yeah, there's lots of potential because you're showing what the potential is. So how did you get into it and start?
So about 3 years ago, a friend of mine had signed up for their account. So I just kind of tagged along and did that too. And I didn't do too much with it. I kind of just like during Q4, I'd list some toys or maybe bad buys for Amazon. I would list some toys, but nothing huge. But then last year, all of a sudden, I don't know, I was getting a little, I don't want to say burnt out with Amazon because I love Amazon, but I just wanted to find something new and challenging. So I started to list a little bit more on Walmart and it just took off from there. Had a great Q4 and then it's just, we're all in this year. So I did, well, let's back up. I actually got suspended on Walmart last year twice. So I can tell you all the things not to do. And I finally got my account back in like June. So from June to December, I was able to do over 6 figures over there. And I just knew like this is where you need to spend your time. It kind of lit that spark for me again for retail arbitrage. And it reminds me of what people say Amazon was like maybe 2015, 16, how it was kind of like the Wild West, easier per se. There's not as much competition. So yeah, I've just taken off with that and I love it.
I'm currently so I was last week I was like in the verification process and Walmart for selling on Walmart and they kept like they would call me at like 7:30 in the morning, which I don't have my phone. It's on the charger still. And so they were needing something and they kept saying in the voicemail that they were gonna email me, but I never got an email. And so I'd log in and nothing. Then because they couldn't get a hold of me, I'm now like not approved. So what what do you know about all this? What happens if you get declined? Like, well, do you know what they're looking for, or is it like Amazon where it's vague?
Yeah, well, yes and no. So I too was declined my first time when I applied. So Walmart, it's still very vague. I have some ways you can get around that. If you're declined right away, it's probably just because they couldn't verify your information because that's huge to them. Um, Open a case and attach all of the paperwork that they were requesting, all of your business paperwork, and then follow up with a phone call to WFS and ask that your paperwork be manually reviewed, and then go from there.
Okay.
Do
That's
that.
yeah, I literally I opened a case, so they called again this morning. I saw it afterwards, and then I opened a case and they were like, "Yeah, you've just been declined." But I saved that email because I was like, "Oh, you can open a case without even being logged in." So I'm gonna save this
Yeah,
link.
I have a phone number you can call too.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, so okay, okay, you're approved. So what did you do or what do you know what you did to get shut down?
yeah, I do. So I put it was my fault for not being smart about what I was doing, but it actually came down to a software that I was using. Um, it was linking all of my Amazon SKUs, so like my Amazon catalog to my Walmart catalog, and then I was seller fulfilling from there, and they didn't match up and started selling things I didn't even have or own or had even seen because the SKUs didn't match. And I was on spring break with my kids, and all of this was happening, and I couldn't do anything to control it or stop it. So I ended up having to cancel orders. And if you cancel too many orders, you're going to get shut down. Um, so that was the first one, and I was shut down for a couple of weeks. I worked with a company, they got me back up and running. But then a month later, I got flagged again by a bot for the same reason because my metrics weren't up to par because I was recovering. So I got shut down again. And then that time I was able to, handle it all by myself. And we've been up and running ever since. So I've learned a lot in the last year about Walmart.
Right? That's what I've talked about this before, but when I got shut down on Amazon my first year, it was because I got an IP or counterfeit, I can't remember which one, but and I was like, "Okay, well, I'll just stop selling it." And I didn't realize you have to like appeal and like talk to them. And so then I got
Yes.
another one and I was like, "Oh, wait, what?" And it's terrifying,
Yeah,
especially when all
it's
of your like hard work is
a
in, but I was
hassle.
able to get it back.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah, the things you don't know, but I mean, until you go through it, you don't really.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
why
know, and there was no info, so.
I'm always like mistakes are how you learn and
Mhm.
like yeah, some of them could be more costly, especially if you have to hire someone to get your account back, but at the end of the day,
Yeah,
you can usually always get it back, so it's just a matter of time and money. But
exactly.
they're
It's been worth it.
learning mistakes. Now you know what not to do.
I know what not to do, and I'm super careful with my account too. So everything's great now. So learning.
So from what I've heard, you have to start doing basically FBM on Walmart where you ship everything out and then you get is it like you get approved into or how does it work where they have the Walmart model of FBA? I forget what they call it.
Yeah, so it's called WFS. So it's Walmart fulfilled. And it used to be that you had to apply for WFS, but now you don't need to go through those steps. I still recommend that you start with seller fulfilled because the catalog and the seller center and all of that, it's very, I don't know the right word, clunky, I guess I could say. Because as Amazon sellers, we're used to everything being really smooth and easy. You're not easy, but like you can get your way around Seller Center pretty good. With Walmart, it's just different. So learn that by seller fulfilling items first so you can kind of get an idea of the flow and how things work. And then from there, you can learn the WFS shipments, which actually are easier than Amazon's.
Nice. And is it all going to one like a couple warehouse? Is it similar to Amazon when you do FBA?
Yeah, so far for me, everything's always been shipped to one warehouse, and you can just throw the stuff in the boxes. You don't have to label it. You don't have to say what's in box one or what's in box two. Recently, they've started splitting shipments, but still, it's so easy.
So is if you had to pick between the two, is it sounds like Walmart is it just more fun or it's just where the money is?
Well, so right now there's less competition on Walmart. So it's a little bit easier to find those winning products, right? So when you're out scanning in the stores, it's a lot easier to find profit. However, Amazon's beautiful because it has the volume. So even if you're making less per item on Amazon, if you can sell the volume over there. So I really think it's nice to be on both.
What is your business model like kind of look like now that you do sell both? Are you like Amazon 1 week or Walmart or how does a traditional week look for you?
Chaotic. um, I'm doing all the things all the time. I wish I was organized and had like Mondays I do Walmart and Tuesdays I do no. Mm-mm. So when I source, I'm kind of sourcing for both at the same time, and I just keep my cart separate. So if I scan something and it's like, well, this is a Walmart win, and it's not so good on Amazon, then it'll just go to Walmart. Maybe I could sell it on both platforms, or maybe it's just Amazon. So it really depends on the store that I'm sourcing. I'm trying to do more OA for Amazon. So I'm spending a couple hours like in the morning or late at night doing my OA. And then prepping during the day, I have a couple part time preppers that help me with that. So I'm not organized, needless to say.
Is there any specific software that you use, for online arbitrage, even just for Amazon? Or and then I also have questions about if there's any software from Walmart, because from what I've heard, there's really not, but I would like to know from someone who does it.
So for Amazon, for OA, I manually search. And in fact, I've never really gotten into a lot of software. I still, well, up until a couple months ago, I still scanned with the Amazon Seller Central app. And I still do for like photos and title searching and stuff. But we used to use Inventory Lab, and that was great. But for about the last year, we've been using Scan Power, which I love. They have a great app. It really helps our warehouse get shipments out. And Paul, the creator, the one that owns Scan Power, he's awesome to work with. So that's like my go to software. And then I scan with that. But then for Walmart, you're right. There isn't really any software. I use something called Wally Smarter, and that will kind of, it's like Keepa, but it's so not Keepa. So, like you said, Walmart doesn't share their data, they keep it very close to the chest, and their API is slow. So, there isn't a lot of options as far as software goes. There's another one called DataSpark, but I no longer use that. But what these companies or software companies do is they use impressions on the website instead of the actual data to kind of give you an estimate of what the sales price was or maybe how many times it's been selling or how many times it's sold. And then they'll help you with like listing creations and stuff. So it's some data, and some data is better than no data, but it's not accurate like Keepa. And that's another win for Amazon because we have all of these tools, all of this data where we can make good choices. Walmart, it's all about test buys. You have to just go really, really wide and not deep, and then kind of form your own data from there.
So there's really no way to know if a product will sell with Walmart, right? It's like if
Oh,
yeah.
not off the bat. You can use a couple clues. So when I go into Walmart, I use Walmart's just their regular app. You can scan, like that's how we find clearance for Amazon, right? So you'll use that app, and when you scan an item, it'll tell you like the price in store. But then under that, it'll say other marketplace sellers or product details. Forgive me, I forget which one. But if you click on that, it'll show you what other sellers are selling that item for. And that kind of gives me an idea if people are selling it, they're probably selling it for a reason because it's probably moving. And then also, I like to look at reviews. Does it have a lot of reviews? Because that's something we use for Amazon too. If there's a lot of reviews, we know that item's moving. So you kind of just need to use your gut instinct too. If you're used to selling that item maybe on Amazon, then chances are it's probably moving on Walmart, but don't use that as a way to gauge volume on Walmart because some items like they just move like crazy on Amazon and then they don't move on Walmart and vice versa. So that's why I said go really wide and kind of do your own test buys.
Hey crew, is your Amazon business set up for success this year? Do you know how much profit you really made on the item you just sold? Or what about this? Do you notice when the Amazon FBA fees change on a product in your inventory? These are just some of the reasons why I love Sellerboard and why I've partnered with them on the You're Selling podcast. I have been using Sellerboard for 4 years now, and I absolutely do not know how I will run my business without it. I love how simple Sellerboard is to use. The desktop version is set up so easy. As soon as you connect your Amazon account, all of your products from the past, anything you've ever sold is gonna flow into that. And the way I love it and use it the most is actually when I'm outsourcing. I have Sellerboard app right on my phone and I can visually see the images of the products I'm selling today, yesterday, last month, last year, whatever I want to look at, I can see it in real time right on my Sellerboard app. Sellerboard is an affordable must-have tool for all Amazon sellers. And as listeners of this podcast, they have given you 2 months free to try it out for yourself. There's absolutely no credit card required to sign up, and you can cancel at any time. Head to yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit to set up your free trial today. Again, yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit to get your 2-month free trial today. Are you cross-listing stuff? Like if you have it for where you would fulfill it, do you list it on both? And do you use any softwares for that, or is it?
So there are softwares for that. I don't do a ton of cross listing. Like during the holidays, if I have a lot of, like say some seasonal candy, I'll put it on both, but I'm very careful to like decide how much is going to go to Walmart and how much is go to Amazon because I don't want to have to cancel Walmart orders and go through that process again.
Are you literally like if you go to Target to source for Walmart, are you just scanning UPCs in Target with the Walmart app? Is that how you're?
Yep, that's it.
That's what I was thinking. Cause yeah, I've seen there was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Fugglier doll. Or yeah,
Yeah.
doll, I guess it is. And
Yeah.
I was trying to see what the price was because it was new at Walmart, and I was trying to see what the price was, and it came up like 30 something dollars on Walmart, and I'm like, "Well, I know that's not right." And so, I did the scan and go to see what the real price is. And
Mhm.
then I was like, "Okay, this is what their people are talking about." Like I could literally buy this on Walmart and then sell it on Walmart. It's just crazy.
It is. Yeah. And that's all it is. It's like Amazon to Amazon flips, but on Walmart, in Walmart.
Is there any of the IP issues right now with Walmart? Because I know even eBay has some of them.
Yeah, nothing like Amazon. What will happen generally is your item, when you go to publish it, um, that's one negative about Walmart. When you're scanning things, you don't know if you're gated or not. You don't know if it's restricted for you. You won't know until you actually list it. So sometimes you'll get an error it'll be like red and it'll just be like error. And if you click on it, it'll say this is an IP item. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's for you specifically. It just means that brand, you cannot sell that brand. It's restricted. So yes, there are IPs, but they handle them differently. As of right
Oh,
now, that could change any day, but I've had zero issues so far.
that sounds better than the way I mean, Amazon is easy now, as long as you deal with it, it's easy, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
still annoying.
it is. Yeah, and you never know. I mean, Amazon's very much you never know what's coming. So
Rewinding a little bit, so when you first started on Amazon and you kinda were just doing it part-time and then you decided to go more full-time, how did you scale your business?
that's a great question. This seems like so long ago. So when I first started selling, I started with $500 and I started on the clearance racks and I didn't take any money out of my business. So I guess it would actually be 2 years from when I started because that first year that I was very part-time, I just kept rolling it. And then when I went full-time, I didn't take any money out for another year, except for like, paying the credit cards. And if I needed help to pay a car payment or something, I would pull little amounts, but nothing drastic. And then my capital would just kept turning, and that allowed me to go deeper on items. And that was 2021, which there were a lot of opportunities for 2021, like the pools and the chlorine. So I was blessed to be able to go deep on those items and really chase things around the state. And that, made my available capital increase so much more. And then just went from there. I was in a small mastermind and we would help each other with good buys. And, I just grew from there. So
So you selling the big pools? Like, some of the sellers were doing, like, the big outdoor above ground pools?
yeah, I was, and I was oh god, I was chasing those by myself, because my husband worked full time, so I would chase them with my kids during the week, and then my husband would help me on the weekends. Luckily, I where I live, there's a store called Meyer, and it's regional, and they had the Intex pools and, like, the filters and all of it. So I would literally like fill my truck, run it home, go back out, and it was just constant. And my UPS guy just absolutely hated me. Um, no, he's great. I love him actually, but yeah, it was just a constant grind, constant hustle. But I mean, it was so
That
worth it. Looking back now, that was a game changer.
that was such a great summer. I was like,
It was
"Man,
such a
all these
summer.
people we're all stuck." I mean, by 2021, we were kinda back to normal, but we were all
Yeah.
still, like, just wanted to be outside, and then there was a
Yep.
chlorine shortage.
It was crazy. And then that same summer, I started Squishmallow on Amazon. So that I was selling thousands of Squishmallows. It was insane. I miss those times though, they were so fun.
Right? I'm,
Not
like,
the
waiting, "What's 2024 gonna be? What's our item
I
gonna be?"
know, right? I know, you're, like, waiting and watching, but there's always something. There's always something to chase, there's always a new deal, so you just have to be involved and pay attention.
Yeah, you have to be like just talking to other sellers, which is why I like this podcast and why I like communities and being involved in communities because when you talk to other Amazon sellers, you learn things you didn't even know you needed to learn.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I know you're a part of some communities. What are those communities and where can people find them?
Yeah, so I help run a Discord community, it's the Sellers Network, and I run that with, Chaz from Side Hustle Network and, Ryan Roots from Rally Roots. They do eBay. So we kind of cover all the online platforms, which is something I love because I really think it's important to have multiple revenue streams coming in. So you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket. So we run that Discord. It's been live for a couple months now. And you can find me talking about Walmart in there and more Walmart sellers and also eBay, Amazon, like Macari and Posh. We're really doing Whatnot. Which is something I really want to try, but I'm also very scared to try. So yeah, that's pretty much where I hang out full time, and then I have a couple small masterminds that I'm involved with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been hearing about the whatnot, and I was like, it's like in the peripheral, and I'm like, I don't know what that
yeah.
is. I don't know if I want to know what it is.
It From what I gather, it's like eBay but live. So you're literally selling like I'd be doing a show right now and showing items and people are buying them. So if you can generate a following, you can sell through a lot of stuff really quickly. But being live on camera, I'm super shy as a person anyways, so that hurdle I need to jump, but I've heard the opportunity is amazing.
That's funny. I should do, like, my dead pile. Like, "Here we go. Who wants it?"
Exactly, and I've seen people just flipping clearance from stores. So, if you like to be out in the stores and you're finding these great deals, I mean, even if you sold through 50 items and made 2 bucks on each one, I mean, that's a pretty good hour and a half, so it'd be totally worth it if you can just get past the being live on camera.
Yeah. I'm getting a little more used to it, but man, my first YouTube live was super scary and nerve-wracking.
I can't even imagine. I wanna do things like that so much, and yet I'm just so intimidated by it all.
It's totally true. It's one of those things, like, even just, starting selling on Amazon and Walmart or whatever we're selling, it's like once you do it, or even people who are scared to FBM, once you do it, you realize it's not that scary. It's just that fear of the unknown, and you get more used to it as you go. But yeah, I would
Definitely.
recommend that's something I'm gonna look into. It's more like, is it entertainment? It's kind of interesting.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I've I mean, I know it's both because I've attended some whatnot shows and some are very entertaining. And yeah, there's all different categories and they host them all throughout during the day. So I think there's a great opportunity there and it's something I should add to my list, but it just hasn't made it there yet.
I did see that Poshmark does live stuff too. I only use Poshmark. I started using it just to get rid of some of my 'cause I'm a little bit of a bikini addict. I will buy them, then not even wear them, and then I sell them. So I was using Poshmark for that, and I realized there's like a live function. Like I was like, okay.
Oh,
It's like
I
all these platforms have so much, like if you really give them the time and dig into them, you can make them work, but it's, the time. And
yeah, the time. If I only had like a couple clones, maybe I could
right.
get it all done, but it's a lot.
So, it sounds like when you started selling, your goal was to be, like a hybrid stay-at-home mom and then also, like, bring in, fulfill yourself by doing, work and everything that make you happy.
Yeah.
What's your dream now for your Amazon or online selling business? Like, how do you have a dream for it? Do you have a goal for it?
Yeah, so my daughter's graduating this year, so we're just enjoying our time with her now, and Amazon's let me do that. And then my son has 3 more years. So over these next 3 years, um, I just want to be able to work out systems for Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and then I'm hoping to be able to travel. My husband and I got married really young, and then we had kids a few years later, so I didn't get to do a lot of that fun stuff at the beginning. So I want to do it now before, retirement. So that's my goal is to travel in the next, 3 to 5 years, just really be able to do that and be free and a lot like you did. So we'll see what we'll see what happens. But in the next 3 years, we're also opening like a part-time liquidation store. So my goal is to help the community as much as I can. Um, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But I love teaching. I'd like to do more of that. Um, yeah.
Yes, you guys will have to go listen to this podcast and then go follow Sarah at Sarah, can you tell me your Instagram?
Yeah, I used to be Sarah's.fba, but I changed it when I started doing Walmart so much. So it's arbitrage.avenue on Instagram. And I just started a YouTube channel because I'm really trying to grow that. But I only have 2 videos right now, but it's Arbitrage Avenue there. But hopefully I'll be able to grow that as I get past my fear of being in front of the camera. Um, and then on X or Twitter or whatever it is, I'm Arbitrage Avenue there.
Okay, so everyone listening is gonna go over there, follow her wherever she is, and tell her you want more Walmart videos or whatever you want from her because she did express that she is getting into coaching, and as you can see, I'm already like taking her up on it because she has all the information. So definitely encourage her to do some videos and ask all the questions so she can make videos about it.
questions help because that otherwise I just sit there and it's like, okay, what do people want to know? Because it's really hard to remember the questions you had when you started. Like I have my own questions now, but they're not helpful to someone who's just starting. So, yes, let me know what you need to know. That would be really helpful.
Yes. So, when you're doing Walmart specifically, is it like okay, let me redo this. Let me say this again.
Sure.
So when you said you kinda got into Walmart because it was, like it got more exciting for you and you got that, like, bug back about retail arbitrage because it ebbs and flows on Amazon. There's good times and bad times. What
Yes.
was that, like, just super encouraging and, like, motivating for you to get back out there? Because did you have other people around you who were also doing it and encouraging you, or were you kind of did you feel alone? Like, how was that?
I knew one other person doing Walmart at the time, and we would kind of share wins and losses, but um, it it's been a lonely journey, and I feel like not everybody, a lot of people are jumping in now, so the information's more available. But when I started, I mean, there was nothing, so it really was just trial and error. And then back in the fall, my mom actually went on to hospice and came to live with me. So I had to stop Amazon, and Walmart was like easy for me to kind of take a break and focus on. And I knew that like that's where the profit was. So I took all of my energy when I wasn't with my mom and put it into Walmart. And just after Q4 and she passed away, then I was able to just hit it harder. And I feel like that was kind of the turning point for me because I couldn't do Amazon and I put all of my energy and time outside of my mom into Walmart, and that I don't know, something clicked. Excuse me. Something clicked and I don't know, the spark was lit and it was kind of like an addiction again. I imagine it's probably like Amazon is those first few days, first few times where you have that win or you find that item. It's the hunt, right? It's that feeling of I just found gold, and it was just everywhere during Q4 for Walmart, and so it just kept rolling.
I'm sorry for your loss. But that is it is one good thing about, making this life for yourself where you can kind of pause and focus on what's more important. Um, I feel like I'm feel like I'm going through I don't even know what you call it, but, like, where I was just like, "Okay, Amazon's great," but I'm kinda like and so I'm trying to find that, like, I stopped and was took back some of what I was doing or peeled back some of what I was everything I was doing and trying to find what excites me again, and I think that maybe is something everyone, entrepreneur or not, just kind of goes through, and you have to, like, step back and say, "What's exciting?" And it sounds like I mean, just the idea of Walmart, just from following you and seeing like you're a big proponent of there's a lot of opportunity here, and that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast. Um, just that seeing what excites you and stop doing the same old just because you can and you know it. So that is one thing that I just think that maybe that's what you experienced too.
Yeah, definitely, and for anybody, and I mean, Walmart's not great for everybody, right? That's at first it's a lot of in the stores, and some people don't like that, but there are so many other things like Whatnot. We talked about that, or starting a store, or doing eBay, or maybe you're doing Facebook Marketplace flips. Whatever it is, you've just got to find what excites you, and work doesn't feel like work. I'm excited to open my account every day and get going. So I needed that.
So you did you start in your house because you said you're in a warehouse now, right? Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I started in my living room. Yep. Yes, I did. And I remember sitting in my living room and my kids were helping me bag and they were complaining through it all. And I was like, one day I'm just not going to have it in my house and you guys won't complain because I'll have someone doing it for me. And thinking back now, I never could have imagined where that would take me or where I'd end up. But yep, I started in my living room and then I made myself a little office in the house. And then I moved to my garage. And then I moved to a location downtown. It was like 700 square feet just to get everything out of my house. And then I moved into a warehouse.
So your warehouse is where you're gonna have a little storefront liquidation. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it has a storefront on the front of it, so and it's closed off. So, we recently ordered a truck of liquidation pallets right from Target. So we're gonna be flipping that within the community at 50% retail, and I have a friend that does that like on a big scale down in Florida. So we're gonna try it in a small scale here and locally and see how that goes. And if it goes well and we enjoy it, then I'll make it more of like a full-time thing.
That's exciting. Are you also gonna, like, pull stuff out of it and you're gonna sell it online, or are you just gonna do
There are something I don't put it on Walmart or Amazon, but on eBay or like Mercari, things like that. There are some items I've pulled out because it's all brand new. Most of it's just shelf pulls or returns. It's very minimally used. So there are some opportunities there to flip online, but most of it's going to be through the store.
And did you start so you started in your house and you moved to the garage. Did your kids still working for you, or do you have other employees working for you now?
So my kids, no, they hated me doing Amazon. Not me doing Amazon. They hated prepping Amazon, but they both have their own little store things going on. So that's a different story. But my sister actually helped me. My sister helped me when I was in the garage, and then when I moved to the warehouse, or I'm sorry, the office space location, and that's when I hired my first prepper outside of family. And then now I have two. And for a while, my husband was laid off. So he was working full time with me. He's since gone back, but he still helps with prep and, you know, sourcing when we can. But that's gotten hard. So I'm trying to learn OA. It's not as fun.
Does he like, working with you? Like, is it the goal eventually that he'll be working in these businesses too, or does he like his day job?
So it's so funny because he hated what I did in the beginning. He just kind of, it's trashing the house. I don't want to say hate. He just wasn't for it. It was, there's boxes everywhere. We've all been there. There's poly bags everywhere. And he would like take out my recycling, take it to the recycling center or help me lift the big boxes. But as it started to grow, once I got into the garage and then eventually out of the garage, he got more into it and got more and more involved. And he's still very involved as far as like I let him set up the warehouse. He does the flow, like that's his thing, all of the shipping and excuse me, packaging and our staff. But he loves his job. He's good at his job and he can do it remotely. So he
Oh,
can
nice.
work at the warehouse with me, but he's working his job and I'm doing my job. So we get to work together, but separately.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. You're ready for travel.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited. Can't wait.
I highly recommend. I like RV travel a lot. I'm actually itching to because we've been stationary for a couple years now. And we are possibly getting a new RV, just like a little small one that can travel because I do miss traveling like that. It was fun.
I can imagine that would be hard to stop and be in one place. Do you have a favorite state that you visited?
I really like Texas, because you can park on the beaches there, and then there's this place called Magnolia Beach, which is technically like a bay, and it's got like hard, it's basically a bunch of shells that have just been ground up, so you can find lots of
Oh,
shells there.
wow.
But you can stay there for free for 2 weeks, and it's like one of my favorite places. That's where I'm itching to go back, but Utah is, the other favorite. I actually really enjoyed Michigan too. I like all of that up there. The what is it? Midwest.
Yeah, Michigan's great in the summers. We have great summers, but I'm over the winters.
Do you have any current favorite stores that you're sourcing? And is there a difference between the 2 platforms, or do you like, I don't know, Walmart for both?
I do like Walmart for both. I'm in store Walmart a lot, because of the Walmart to Walmart flips. But I also like sourcing outlets. We don't have a ton near us, so I have to travel for those. But that's always a fun place to find some good deals. Usually worth the drive. I it really depends on the time of year. Like I mentioned earlier, we have Meyer, and I love sourcing Meyer. It's nice because it's regional. They have really good clearance. So that's probably my favorite store. But outside of the outlets, I love the outlets too.
I have definitely heard about I mean, I know I've been to Meijer when we were up there, but they have some really great items and they get a lot of them. Like I think it was a Budweiser Stein during Q4 that, like, only Meijer had apparently. And it
Yeah,
was just like
it's such a big store and there's so many different departments, so it can be a little overwhelming, but when they mark down clearance, like they mark it down good. So it's worth, hitting all of the Meijers. And I can't even count how many Meijers I have within an hour of me. So it's just one of those things. Do what works for you because each location is so different. Some of you guys have Publix, and I know they have great buy one, get one free sales. Like you mentioned earlier, grocery outlet. I've heard great things about grocery outlet. So do what works in your area for sure. And we have Menards too. I like Menards too.
yeah, I recently got kicked out of Menards.
I saw your saw that. That's just crazy to me. I've been to Menards, I don't know how many times, and I just sit there and scan, and nobody has even noticed me, let alone talk to me. That's
It
crazy.
was so bizarre. I don't know if it was a slow day or what. I came in so I was filming a video and I came in filming like I normally do in every other store, and I
Yeah,
think that might be what initially was like, "Someone's filming." I don't know, but that's the
that's so
only
bizarre.
in their defense I can give them, like,
I
'cause it
can't
was weird.
even I can't even fathom because I've ordered bulk from Menards. I don't know how many times, and I tell them why, and they don't care.
It
Menards does
was
not care.
so bizarre. Yeah, so definitely don't just because I got kicked out, don't write it off. I was super excited to go there.
Yeah, you should give it another shot. Maybe you just had a manager with having a bad day or something.
I think it
Oh,
could have been that mixed with boredom because they were just standing around. I don't know.
that's Menards. I mean, that's pretty normal. Yeah, that's wild.
So what are your plans, for the rest of the year and beyond? Like, are you doing would you call it an even mix, or do you focusing more on Walmart or Amazon?
So I'd like to keep my Amazon store going the way that it has been. And my goal I'd love to get my Walmart store to kind of match my Amazon store. Um, I think that's going to be a challenge. Hold on just a second. Sorry. It's awful when it gets in your throat. Okay, I don't remember what I was saying. Um, so yeah, so I'd like to get my Walmart store to kind of match my Amazon store. That's kind of a challenge for me, like a personal challenge, but we'll see how it goes. I don't want to give up Amazon. I still love Amazon. I wouldn't be here without Amazon. So, like I said earlier, the volume is in Amazon. So we'll definitely keep hitting that hard. I'm hopefully going to be more OA than RA for Amazon moving forward. That's another big challenge I want to be able to check off my list that I accomplished. So we shall see. It's going to be a different year because I have so much going on, but I think it's going to be a really good year too.
Yeah, it's exciting. Anytime you're excited about anything, no matter what it is, it's just gonna make the year that much more fun. So, I wish
Yeah.
you all the best in all of your journeys, especially your Walmart coaching journey. Hint, hint.
It's so funny because I set up a Calendly or whatever that link is last night, and then I was like, well, I don't know. I'm so shy, but we'll see.
Yes. So, if I will drop all of your social and the, seller network, is that what you said it was called?
The Sellers Network. Yep.
The Sellers Network in the
Yes.
show notes for anyone who is interested in checking them out and giving Sarah a follow. Thank you so much for my just random questions and everything about
Oh,
this
I
was a
loved
very
it.
fun podcast. So thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun to chat with you and finally get to meet you. And I look forward to, catching up in the future. So
Yes. Thank you. As I mentioned, I've dropped all of Sarah's links in the show notes so you can join the community there. Follow her on Instagram and be sure to message all the questions you have about Walmart and so she can make more videos on YouTube. Definitely give her a subscribe there. And as always, thank you guys so much for listening. If you would like to be on the podcast, please email me podcast@yoursellingguide.com. I absolutely love to talk to other Amazon sellers, Walmart sellers, whatever platform you're selling on. I would love to chat more with you. So definitely reach out and give me an email. Until next week, happy sourcing.